In a bustling city filled with hurried pedestrians, Elon Musk strides across the busy streets, his mind preoccupied with his latest ventures. The day seems like any other until he encounters a homeless man sitting on a bench, with tattered clothes and a weathered face. The man, his eyes filled with a mix of hope and weariness, calls out to Musk. "Can you buy me some food?" he asks, his voice cracking with desperation. The passerby barely notice the exchange, but for the man this is more than just a simple request. It's a lifeline. Musk, typically in a rush, stops. His eyes meet the man's, and there is a brief moment of silence. The crowd around them fades into the background. At first, Musk seems like he might ignore him, but something shifts. His mind races through the vast wealth he's accumulated, the billions at his fingertips, and the constant pressure of his empire. Then, without a second thought, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his phone. Musk stands in front of the homeless man, his sharp eyes locked onto the disheveled figure with a strange intensity. The air around them feels charged, like an invisible thread is pulling them into an unexpected moment. His decision is made, not just to buy the man a simple meal, but to take this encounter somewhere far beyond what anyone might expect. The homeless man stands frozen, a flicker of confusion crossing his face as he watches Musk's fingers fly across his phone screen. He types quickly, his eyes never leaving the man in front of him. Minutes pass in tense silence, the kind that feels almost unbearable. The homeless man shifts his weight, wondering what exactly Musk is up to. Was this some kind of stunt? A celebrity using him for attention? He can't be sure. But the intensity in Musk's gaze is hard to ignore. Finally, the screen of the phone lights up and Musk's fingers still. "What do you want to eat?" Musk asks, his voice steady but unyielding. There's a cold determination in his tone, as though he's not just asking to feed someone but to alter the course of their day, maybe their life. The homeless man's mind races. This wasn't what he expected. He had only asked for a meal, something to quiet the gnawing hunger inside him. But Musk's question has caught him off guard. What does he even ask for? Does it matter? He had no expectation beyond the bare minimum. Before he can respond, Musk presses on. "Take your time, but think carefully. This is about more than just food." The homeless man's heart skips a beat. What does he mean by that? His confusion is only deepening. Is he being toyed with? Is this some elaborate joke? He looks at Musk, unable to mask his uncertainty. And just as quickly as the question is asked, the answer arrives in a way that shatters any doubts he had about Musk's seriousness. Within minutes, a sleek black car pulls up in front of them, its shiny exterior gleaming even under the dim streetlights. The doors open with a soft hiss, and a well-dressed man in a sharp suit steps out. He's holding a large silver bag, one that clearly doesn't contain a simple meal, but something far more extravagant. The smell of expensive food wafts into the air, and the homeless man's jaw drops, his eyes widening in disbelief. He blinks hard, almost as if he's dreaming. Was this really happening? Musk stands with a quiet satisfaction as he watches the man approach. He gestures for the homeless man to come closer, a slight smile playing at the corner of his lips. The homeless man takes a hesitant step forward, his mind still racing, overwhelmed by the situation. Musk motions to the car, his voice now a little softer but still commanding. "Come with me," Musk says. "There's more waiting for you." The homeless man stares at him, unsure if he's still dreaming. He thought he was just getting a meal, maybe a sandwich or some soup to fill the emptiness in his stomach, but this was something else entirely. He looks at the suit-clad man with the bag of food, still trying to process the reality of the situation. "What's going on?" the homeless man finally asks, his voice barely above a whisper, the words escaping before he can stop them. Musk smiles slightly, his eyes glinting with an unreadable expression. Something bigger than a meal, a chance to change everything. The homeless man feels the weight of those words. Change everything? Could it be possible? Could someone like him really have a chance to leave his past behind and walk into something entirely new? He hesitates for a moment longer, before stepping forward, drawn by the possibility, the hope that maybe, just maybe, his life is about to take a turn he never saw coming. Musk's actions have bewildered the onlookers, who stand frozen at the sight of this unexpected interaction. Most people had walked past the homeless man without a second thought, perhaps throwing a coin in his direction, or worse, ignoring him completely. But here was Elon Musk, one of the wealthiest and most influential figures in the world, sitting beside him on the cold concrete sidewalk, as if they were equals. It wasn't just about the food. It was something far deeper. The air felt charged with an unspoken understanding, and the people around them, who had been minding their own business moments ago, now found themselves watching in disbelief. The homeless man, his hands shaking slightly, takes a tentative bite of the meal in front of him. It's rich, flavorful, a far cry from the stale bread or cold leftovers he's used to. His senses are overwhelmed by the contrast between the warmth of the meal and the bitter chill of the street. He chews slowly, savoring every bite, but his mind is still spinning. Elon Musk has not only bought him food, but has sat beside him without any pretense, as though their conversation was the most natural thing in the world. As the man continues eating, Musk doesn't speak at first. He simply sits, his posture relaxed yet deliberate, his body language indicating that he's fully present, not in a rush, and not playing the role of a benefactor with an agenda. He's here, in this moment, with this man, and that's all that matters. Musk finally breaks the silence with a question that catches the homeless man off guard. "Tell, what's your story?" Musk asks, his voice genuine and calm. There's no pity in his tone, just curiosity, like he's trying to understand the journey that led this man to this moment. The homeless man hesitates, not sure if he should share too much. It's not often that anyone asks about his life with this level of interest. Most people simply assume he's another nameless, faceless figure on the street. But Musk's unwavering gaze encourages him to speak, to tell his truth. Slowly, almost unwillingly at first, the man begins to open up, telling Musk about the hardships he's faced, the loss of his job, the broken relationships, the spiral into addiction, and the final descent into homelessness. The words come out in a rush, as if the floodgates have opened and he can't stop them. He talks about the people who ignored him, the times he'd begged for help only to be dismissed, the loneliness that has gnawed at him for years. He speaks of a world that feels like it has forgotten him, a man once full of potential, now just a shadow of what he used to be. Musk listens intently, his expression unwavering. There's no judgment in his eyes, only a quiet understanding, as if he's hearing something important that others might overlook. The conversation shifts from despair to something deeper, a thread of hope weaving through the man's words. It's as if, in telling his story, he's remembering parts of himself that had been lost along the way. Then, in a moment that surprises both of them, Musk leans in slightly and speaks again, this time with a resolve that resonates through his voice. "You know," Musk begins, "I could help you get back on your feet." The homeless man stops mid-bite, his fork suspended in mid-air. He looks at Musk, incredulous, unsure if he's heard him correctly. Was this real? Could this be happening? His mind races, trying to process the offer. Musk continues, his voice steady but firm. "A lot of people would ignore you. I won't. I want to offer you something more than just a meal today. You don't have to be forgotten." The homeless man feels a lump form in his throat. Could someone really want to help him? Not just with a handout, but with a real opportunity to change his life. His heart quickens as he listens. Musk doesn't wait for the man to respond immediately. Instead, he continues, his words deliberate, each one chosen carefully. "I've got the resources to help people. I've seen people go from nothing to something. I know how to create opportunities, and I see something in you, something that tells me you're not finished. You've got the determination to rebuild. I can help you find a way to rise above your circumstances, to get out of this hole." The homeless man's mind spins, the gravity of Musk's words sinking in. His life has been nothing but struggle, yet here's a man who's offering him not just a handout, but a real chance to transform everything. He's heard promises like this before, only to be let down, but this feels different. Musk's sincerity cuts through the skepticism. For the first time in years, the man allows himself to hope. He's heard about people who have made it out of despair, who have turned their lives around, but he never imagined that someone like Musk would be the one to offer him that chance. His voice cracks slightly as he speaks. You really mean that? You'd help me? You'd help me? Musk meets his gaze, unflinching. I wouldn't offer if I didn't mean it. But you have to be willing to put in the work. The road won't be easy, but I see something in you. A spark. You're not just a victim of circumstance. You're someone who can make a difference. The homeless man feels the weight of those words, as if something within him is waking up after years of dormancy. He looks down at the meal in front of him, no longer just a symbol of charity, but the first step toward a life he never thought was possible. With a hesitant nod, the man finally speaks, his voice quiet but filled with a new determination. I'm willing. I'll do whatever it takes. The conversation grows deeper, and as the homeless man listens to Musk's words, something within him begins to stir. It's almost as if a part of him that had been dormant for years is finally waking up. He had always believed that people like Musk, people with power, wealth, and influence, never paid attention to those at the bottom. He thought the gap between them was too wide, the world too divided. He had never imagined that someone like Musk, who could change the course of history with a single decision, would take the time to care about a man like him. But here they are, two strangers in the middle of a bustling city street, sharing a moment that feels far more significant than either of them could have anticipated. The weight of the encounter is not lost on the homeless man. He looks at Musk, still struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the offer on the table. Musk, for his part, remains composed, his expression unwavering, but there's a quiet intensity in his eyes that speaks volumes. There's no condescension, no pity in his gaze, just a focused determination, as if he genuinely believes that something can change. Musk's voice breaks the silence again, calm but direct, as though he's speaking not just to the man in front of him, but to the very core of what he could become. I'm not offering this to just anyone, he says, his words cutting through the air with the weight of their significance. But I believe you can make a difference in your life if you want it. I don't take this lightly, and I know it's not going to be easy, but I see something in you. The homeless man's heart skips a beat. He sees something in me? For so long he had been invisible, overlooked and dismissed. He had resigned himself to the idea that his life was destined to remain in the shadows, forever out of reach of those who had power, wealth, or a way to help. But now, here was Musk, sitting beside him, telling him he saw something, a spark, a potential that he himself had long forgotten. Musk continues, his voice steady but carrying a sense of urgency. Let's start with the basics. Let me help you get a job, a place to stay, a real place, not a shelter but something you can call your own. You deserve that. The words land like a blow, a surge of possibility flooding the man's mind. A job? A place to stay? This wasn't just charity. This was an offer for a future, a life that was tangible and real. The homeless man is overwhelmed. His hands tremble slightly as he sets down the food, suddenly feeling as though the ground beneath him is shifting. This isn't the reality he's known for so long. He's lived on the streets for years, relying on kindness from strangers and the meager scraps of food he could find. He's been written off by society, by those who saw him as a statistic, a problem to be ignored. But now, here he is, with someone offering him a lifeline. The weight of the moment presses in on him. His mind races, and for the first time in a long time, he feels like he's standing on the edge of something different, something better. He doesn't know what to say, doesn't know how to process the flood of emotions building inside him: gratitude, disbelief, hope. It all comes crashing down at once, overwhelming him. He swallows hard, his throat tight, and looks down at the ground for a moment, trying to steady himself. When he speaks again, his voice is barely above a whisper, raw with emotion. I don't know what to say, he murmurs, his eyes filling with tears. I never thought anyone would care, not like this. I thought I was just invisible. Musk places a hand on his shoulder, a simple gesture but one that carries a weight of reassurance. You're not invisible, he says, his voice soft but resolute. You just need someone to believe in you. That's what I'm doing right now. The homeless man looks up, his eyes meeting Musk's. For the first time in years, he sees something more than just pity. He sees a genuine belief that change is possible. The future, which had always seemed like an abstract, unreachable concept, suddenly feels within his grasp. He can't help but wonder what it would be like to have a chance, to wake up in a safe bed, to have a job to go to have a place that is truly his own. The thought of it feels almost surreal. Me? The man asks, his voice full of wonder and confusion. Why would you choose to help me? Musk leans in slightly, his eyes meeting the man's with an intensity that speaks of both confidence and hope. Because I believe everyone deserves a second chance, he says, and I see something in you, a fire that hasn't been completely extinguished. You can make a difference, not just in your own life, but in the lives of others. All it takes is the will to change, and I think you've got that. The homeless man feels a wave of emotion wash over him. He had lived for so long with no direction, no sense of purpose, but now, with Musk's words, something stirs inside him. Maybe I can change. Maybe it's not too late. He reaches out, his hand trembling, and shakes Musk's hand, a simple but powerful gesture of trust. I'll do it, the man says, his voice firm, as though making a vow. I'll do whatever it takes. Musk nods, a small smile on his face. I believe you, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. As the man stands up, a sense of hope fills the space between them, tangible and bright. The weight of the moment is still there, pressing down, but now it feels lighter. The future is no longer an empty void, it's a path, and for the first time in years, the homeless man feels like he's walking down it, not alone, but with someone who truly believes in him. Elon Musk walks away, his footsteps firm and purposeful, but the impact of his words lingers in the air like a silent promise. The homeless man watches as Musk disappears into the distance, his figure gradually shrinking as the sleek black car pulls away, vanishing into the busy streets. The man stands frozen, his heart still racing, his mind struggling to process what had just happened. For so long he had wandered through life feeling invisible, overlooked by the world. And now, after one encounter, everything feels different. Musk didn't ask for anything in return. There were no cameras, no social media posts to flaunt the charity. The billionaire's goal had never been about gaining credit or boosting his image. It was about reaching out, giving someone the chance to live differently, to make a real change. As the car fades from view, the homeless man takes a slow breath, his chest rising and falling with a new kind of rhythm. It's as if he has been carrying an invisible weight for years, but now, with Musk's offer and the unexpected opportunity laid out before him, that weight has lightened. The man feels something stirring deep within him. Hope. A feeling he hasn't allowed himself to entertain in years. Hope that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for something better. He takes a few tentative steps forward, feeling the pavement under his feet in a way that feels oddly unfamiliar. The world around him, once cold and indifferent, suddenly seems full of potential. The noise of the city, the honking horns, the bustling crowds, the whir of passing cars feels less distant now, as though he is no longer a mere observer, but someone who belongs, someone who can carve out a space in it. As days pass, the story of the homeless man and Elon Musk spreads, first through whispers, then through social media posts and news outlets. People are captivated by the unexpected act of kindness from one of the richest men in the world. The images of Musk sitting beside the homeless man, offering him not just food, but a chance to rebuild his life, strike a chord with millions. It's the kind of story that resonates because it defies the narrative we often hear about those at the bottom of society, the ones who are invisible, forgotten. Musk's gesture challenges that narrative. It shows that even the smallest act of compassion can ignite a chain reaction, and that no one is ever truly beyond redemption. The homeless man, whose name is revealed to be Mark, begins to receive attention from Musk's team. They help him secure temporary housing, connect him with counseling services, and guide him through the necessary steps to regain his independence. The weight of the task ahead feels daunting, but Mark, fueled by the belief that someone like Musk could see his worth, faces it with newfound determination. He follows through on every step, gradually rebuilding not just his life, but his self-esteem. The support he receives isn't just material, it's emotional, psychological, and, most importantly, it's real. In the months that follow, Mark begins to find work, a job that provides him with more than just a paycheck. It gives him purpose. With each passing day, his confidence grows. He learns new skills, steps into new responsibilities, and begins to envision a future he once thought impossible. The opportunity that Musk had offered him, in the form of a simple conversation, becomes the foundation on which Mark starts to rebuild his life. What was once a dream is now becoming a reality. The story of Mark's transformation is shared widely, inspiring others who might have lost hope to take a chance on change. People from all walks of life reach out to offer their support, donating time, resources, and guidance. The world watches in awe, but more importantly, it begins to reflect on the power of human connection and the profound difference one person can make in another's life. Mark, who once believed that the world had forgotten him, now stands as living proof that no one is ever truly out of options. His journey serves as a poignant reminder that kindness, when given freely and without expectation, can spark something extraordinary. And though Musk's gesture may have seemed small in the grand scheme of things, to Mark it was the catalyst that changed everything, the beginning of a new chapter, the first step toward a brighter future. As he looks back on the moment he met Musk, Mark smiles quietly to himself. He's no longer just a man surviving on the streets. He's someone who's been given a second chance, and with it, the power to transform not only his life, but the lives of those around him. The world may be filled with challenges, but now, he knows, there is always hope. Operation Over 65. Operation Over 60. Mark's transformation shows the power of kindness and second chances. What started with Elon Musk's simple act of generosity led to a complete turnaround in Mark's life, reminding us that no one is beyond hope. If this story inspired you, be sure to subscribe to you for more powerful stories of change and redemption.